Before we start and talk about the current proposal, I want to give a brief overview. What is Pioneer School District? Well, currently, we are a school district that is made up of 4 small schoolhouses in Mason County. We had the Agate Schoolhouse, Harston Island, Oakland Bay, and Pickering schools that consolidated back in the late 40s, early 50s to create the Pioneer School District. We also, bullet number 2, we have approximately 700 students in our 2 schools. We do have 2 schools on 50 acres right here at the lot you're sitting at today. Basically, we extend from Agate Road here over down Spencer Lake Road in the east direction. The primary schoolhouse is a self-contained school. It has all of its classrooms under one roof. And it has 350 students ranging in grades preschool through 3rd grade. And everything you would expect to see in a schoolhouse, you have classrooms, you have a music room, library, restrooms, etc. It's all under the one house. The 4th bullet there mentions or makes reference to the intermediate middle school. You are in the intermediate middle school today. And this is a construction, or this is a campus that houses approximately, again, 350 students. And the grades here range from 4th grade through 8th grade. Most of the 4th graders attend school on the east side of the campus. Most of the middle school students attend school down here on the southern part of the campus. This building is what we would consider an open campus. It consists of 5 distinct buildings, and I'm going to get into that a little later in the presentation. Bullet number 5, we have outdoor facilities. We have a soccer field, an undeveloped baseball field, and we have a non-standard track, and also outdoor play area. So that just gives you a real quick overview of what the Pioneer School District is today and where we came from. This is the most important slide that I want to share with you, because I want you to know what is it that the taxpayers are being asked. The first most important piece is this is a $26,920,000 bond that we are asking voters to consider. And we do recognize from the board and myself that that's a lot of money, and so we want to educate our voters on where that money will be spent. And what will the community get out of it if this were to be approved? The 26.92 translates into a tax rate based on current assessed values in our county of $1.33 per thousand. That's what we anticipate that to be at. Really what we're asking for is, under constructing a new middle school, is a building to be built at the middle school for grades 6th, 7th, and 8th that would be self-contained, similar to what you experience at the primary school. We want to build a facility that will have one main accessible entrance in and out during the school day, and all programs function under that one roof. And so that's really what we're hoping to get out, and build a facility that can carry the capacity of carrying out education in the 21st century. So everything you would expect to see, from library to music, special education classes, adequate space for physical education, etc. The construction goal that I want you to walk away from tonight would be then 2. There are 2 for the middle school. The first is, we want to, bullet number 1 is eliminate the outdoor transitions. But we want to take it further than that. We want to limit the number of accessible entrances during the school day. And this is maybe something Randy can speak on tonight. The state has taken a pretty active position now with regards to any new construction should consider the number of accessible entrances during the instructional day. Now, we have the facility at the primary school that has the capacity to do that. Now, there are many exits as crash cars exit the building, but there's only one unlocked entrance during the school day. So we can control the flow in and out. And so that's an important goal for our construction. We also want to build classrooms that are designed to meet our demands. We are teaching now in a new era in education, one in which we're preparing our students to take on technological advantages that we didn't foresee 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. So those are the two primary goals around why would we even consider building a middle school for 6, 7, and 8. Looking then on the right, we want to reconfigure and expand the primary school. We currently have a beautiful facility, and I want to take this opportunity to state, if you have an opportunity to go over to the primary school, that is now 21, almost 22 years old. And if you were to walk through it today, it is as good as new. It is absolutely beautiful. And the nice thing that I want to share with the community tonight is that building is paid for. You paid that building off December 1st of 2011. There's no debt that we owe on that facility. It's yours outright. And so it is a phenomenal building that has been well taken care of by this district, and I can't take any credit for that. But administration and custodial staffs and principals and teachers have really taken that investment and maximized that. So that facility goes nowhere. That facility maintains its integrity through this construction project. Really what we're asking for is for the voters to consider to add 10 additional classrooms to that project. And why would we ask that? Well, as stated earlier, we have a building here that houses 4th through 8th graders. Our board has spent a lot of time, effort, and study time to determine, is that an appropriate placement? Could our 4th and 5th graders be in a spot or in a building that might meet their needs better? And the answer to that question from a board position is yes. If you look at trends across the state, you go into town, you go to Olympia, you go to, the other side of the state, K through 5 buildings are very common. And, a 4th and 5th grader don't exactly align with the needs of a kindergarten student, but they're closer aligned to a kindergarten student than they are an 8th grader. That's the position that our board is taking, and I stand behind that position. It makes sense to put our primary age students, or our intermediate age students, in a primary school setting. So really we're asking for 10 additional classrooms to be built at the primary school, and again the expansion goal or the reconfiguration goal would be we want to have a K-5 building, a pre-K through 5 building. That's the nuts and bolts of it. So this is a model, and you do have a copy of this, a small copy in your handout. But this really summarizes the project. And again, this is not the time or place to get into all of the details, but my cards are back on the table, and I would be glad to sit down and talk all the details with you. So I'm just going to kind of go over this pretty quickly and be open to any questions afterwards. If you look at this model, this is this is the 50 acres that Pioneer School District owns. And if you look up there, you can see number 5. That's what we project to build in a middle school, grades 6, 7, and 8. That is, if you were to go right out that door towards the track, that would be where that facility would be built. And one thing to remember about that is it's in an open space. We will not have, in our current model or proposal, we will not have a need to bring in portables or modulars to add increased cost to the construction model, because we'll continue to have school here and build there. So that's a big one. It's a self-contained building. It has not been designed. There are a lot of questions out in the community. Well, you've already made decisions. No, we have not. We have not made decisions other than we want that to be approximately 60,000 square feet so we can have a projected cost to what do we need to ask our taxpayers to consider. So there's a lot of design work to be done in that. Also, I want to point you out to number 2. Actually, look at number 1. Number 1 is the primary school. Again, clearly want to communicate that structure maintains its integrity. It is phenomenal. We will not change that in any way, shape, or form. We'll add to it. Number 2 is the 10 additional classrooms. The key there is note there's a small blue hallway that connects that. That will continue to be one facility under one roof with one main entrance in and many exits out. Some other key features there. There is a covered play shed, which is number 3. And that was discussed long and hard by the board as well. With the type of weather that we have here, it seems important for our students to have outdoor fresh air and to do so in a manner that they can play in their play shed. The other is number 4. That is a gymnasium that will be added to that model at the primary school. Question is, well, you already have a gym. Really, we don't. If you go to that facility, we have a multi-purpose room. And with a facility that could increase by, almost, we're talking about 200 students, a little less than 200 students, there's a need to have more space. And so we would have then a true multi-purpose room and a true gymnasium to continue to support our educational purposes. And this model also features number 12. This, I think, is brilliant thinking around this concept. It separates the parent traffic from the bus traffic. And if you've been a bus driver or you've been a parent dropping your children off at school, you can appreciate that. You can see that the parent traffic would be in the parking lots, and the bus traffic would be coming in and exiting it behind the school, which I think is very critical thinking. So that summarizes what really the taxpayers are going to be asked to consider in a model form. Now, I want to take it a little deeper than that. And for those of you that like the numbers, here's how the numbers break out. And so if you don't like the numbers, please bear with me for just a minute. But this is in millions of dollars. And you can see that if you look up at the top, classrooms, there are 6th through 8th, and then there's an area which is 60,880 square feet. That's how large the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade building would be. And then the next line, then it has a slash, and there's 239. How much does it cost per square foot? $239 per square foot. So if you multiply that out, take your 60,880 times the 239, you're going to get $14.55 million to build that facility. Okay? So you can do the same for the 4th and 5th grade. You can see that we're looking to add 13,000 square feet at a cost of $222 for $2.89 million. And you can go right down that list and see exactly what we're going to ask for. The building construction, the total for the building construction is $19.36. You get into the site work, which includes everything listed there at $3.49, about $3.5 million. Then you get into the architectural, they call them soft costs, which is the taxes, the building permits, the architectural fees, the specs, all of that kind of rolled up into one is $7.3 million for a grand total of $30.13 million. Now, we do anticipate, and the state has continued to fund, what they call state assistance, or some refer to it as match. It's not really match, but it's like a matching program. We do anticipate $3.23 million to come from the state to offset local costs. And that is what's projected. So, again, I went through that really quick, and if you want much more detail, I am very willing to sit down and talk with you about the numbers, but I do not want to bog that down in our conversation this evening. The last piece here is why. This is the most important slide to me. Because, I'm a community member, and before I vote to raise my taxes as well, I want to know why. What is it that we really need? And so I've taken this, and I apologize for the resolution of this. It's from late in the 2009-2010 school year, so it's not as clear as I would like it to be, but it is from our study and survey that was done in 2010. And I've color-coded it and added some text because it just a document that's about 45 pages long, full of text, and I wasn't going to present that to you tonight. But I do want to give you a sense of why. I've color-coded it based on buildings, and you can see the yellow buildings that are up above. Those are the 1952 and 64 editions. And then I've taken some information directly out of this report that indicates some of the challenges of that facility. And so you can see that that was the 52 and 64 building, the exterior building, the roof. It said condition evaluation unsatisfactory. And I'm not going to read this to you, but it goes right down the list and itemizes really what are the challenges of that building. Okay? So then you can go to the 76, the 57 and 84, the 81 to 84, and they're all color-coded. So you can see the makeup of the 5 buildings that consist of the intermediate middle school. They were put in over the course of 3 decades. And they were put in spots. And they were very different construction from one era to the next. And so looking at the 5264 building, that is a stick-built construction, very quality, put in 1952, and is still standing pretty firmly today. But the biggest challenge there, because I hear, why if there's so many roof problems at the primary at the school, why don't you just fix the roof? Why don't you just put new shingles on? Why don't you? And we do. We really do. I did a cost analysis. I had my business manager, Liz, run numbers. We've spent $144,000 in 3 years on the roof. Just our roofs. And so, it's more than just put a shingle on. It's a construction model that is, for that particular yellow portion, it's an inverted roof structure. And you can go right over there, you can see the roof tilts, or it feeds to the middle of the building. And it collects there until it then runs off the building onto the office area, which is a flat roof. Now, we have spent, just 2 years ago, we had a licensed roofer come in, and we spent $15,000 and got a rubber roof put up there. And so, and we're sure that's going to stop the problem. But when you get as much rain as we've had the last few weeks in a short period of time, you can imagine what happens. The roof gets so much water that it starts to leak. And so that's one challenge that I want to make sure folks understand. It's more than just labeling it in a report as condition evaluation unsatisfactory, because we automatically lead to, change the shingles. And it's more about structure. It's more about the design. Then you go to the 1976 building, and that's the kind of purple mauve color there. These buildings here are portables. They don't look like a portable, but they're portables. They were brought in on wheels, and they pieced 4 portables together to make what's called now our quad. And the biggest challenge of that is they're portables. We're talking now, they were put in 1976. In just a couple of years, they'll be 40 years old. And in education, and maybe Randy has some different numbers than I, but we tend to think that a portable in a public setting is about 20-year life expectancy. And we've almost doubled that. So I feel really good about the fact that we've been able to take something that our taxpayers gave us back in the early 70s and have taken well care of that. Looking at then the green sections, you can see that there's 2 L buildings, one of which is our intermediate school, one is our middle school. These were put in 81 and 84, and you can see the challenges that we face with these facilities. The biggest that's really not even listed there is neither one of them have plumbing. There is one sink. If you're looking at the bottom building there, which is at the very bottom of the document, That's our middle school. There is one sink, and that's in the science room. But for our students to use the restroom facilities or simple things like that, they have to go, either across to the yellow building or to the blue building to use the restroom facilities. That's a challenge. That's a different design in a different era. The 81 and 84 construction is also very similar feel to the portable classrooms. You have wood frame door frames, and you have wood doors, and you have 2x4 construction, and so they're a challenge. They're not of the same quality that was built by this community in the early 90s. If you look at that primary school, that's of high quality. That building will be here 60 years and beyond. These buildings, although only 30 years old, they have significant challenges. The construction was a different era. And the 57 and 84 building, the gym sits right behind this presentation today, the old gym. That was put in 1957, which is now a classroom today, and this was added in 84. Same time as the middle school was added here. So one of the bigger challenges here, and it's really a challenge across the campus, and this is one that I really stand for, is the equal access. If you look at our whole facility, it was built in a different time. Handicap accessibility was not the focus. To be in public education today, I really pride myself on, I don't care how you come to us. You're going to have equal access in our facility. And I'll be honest with you, because we were built in 50s and 60s, 70s, and 80s, we have significant problems as it relates to ADA compliance. Whether that be through our alarm system for the fire system, because it's not audio and visual, or if it's, this door frame's not large enough, or the slope across our campus is too great, you name it. It's not a simple fix, it's very complex. And, if there were just a few simple fixes, I promise you, I would have made those simple fixes. Because equal access is very important. So that's a significant challenge by way of this report. So this is the most important slide to me as to why. Why would this district come to the taxpayers and ask for such a significant amount of money? That's why. Because we have a significant issue that we need to deal with. That is challenging. But not so challenging that we can't perform that